Hi guys, and welcome back to the next part of the Tony Ray Humminbird DH53 build. Step 7, find the two triangular tailpieces. Step 8, glue them in. Alright, what do we got? There they are. They are slightly different, be aware of that. Is the piece that contains the tail wheel, I would imagine. And that big slot goes on the top, and that will have the fin slotting into it. So this will go in there. It pulls together. I'm wondering if I ought to just damp that slightly just to help it in. I'll also put a peg on there just to, it's a bit tight. It's a bit softer. And then we'll put that one in the top. Just going to glue the back edge together. Can't really get in there now, so it'll just have to be glued externally. Bit there. Stringers, step 10, and they actually tell you to use the 1mm, the stringers from the 1mm wood. So it's these thicker stringers, and they're going to go on their side. I've already released some, so let's just take some out. They go from the thin plywood, and those grooves in the ply are not 1mm. Grooves in the balsa, that one's a good one. This one here, all the little tabs got broken off long ago. What you can do to prevent this folding in like that is just to cut some stringers and put them sideways on. The bottom ones, the grain goes that way anyway. The top ones, there's nothing there to stop it going across. So I think I might just cut a small piece of wood just to go across there to stop that crushing. If nowhere else on this one halfway down. Don't think it'll be in the way of the push rods, so good thing to do. Okay, so then that will stop that crushing and breaking that. You go from here down to there. I suggest you leave it over length for a second. Just focus on getting the wood to go into these slots. I could try and file those slots slightly bigger as they're as they're plywood. I'll probably file them too fat using this file. Yeah, it's a little bit thicker. Okay. My other option is just to sand just where that goes, just a little bit. It's thinner now, it goes in a treat. Probably have to taper the ones at the back just to get them all bunched up together nicely. That one's a little bit tight at the back, but it does go in there, just slides in there, a bit of wiggling. There we are. What I'm going to do, I'm going to glue this in. Come on. And then trim it off, because it's only going to break if I don't. I'm going to trim it slightly proud so as I can sand it nice and smooth to that former, because that's the back of the cockpit. And continue with the others, but I'm going to do that off camera because I'll tell you why. That's exactly the same as that. I want to complete step 12, and that's a lamination of the nose block, and I want to use white glue, and I want that set in. So I'm going to press on with that, and I'll do the stringers off camera. There are all those pieces there, and I think these curved pieces also make up to be a little bit of the nose block as well. Let's just slice forward a sec. Let's cut these bits out. 6 pieces. Each piece is slightly bigger than the next, and you laminate them together, and when you sand them into a nice cockpit, not cockpit, cowling shape. And that one, don't separate it yet, because you'll end up with some little bits you don't want to lose. Okay, so this bit glues on there, and they all glue on level with the top, so they all glue on like that. Slots are lining up very nicely, so that's a good indicator that things are in the right place. I'm just offering them up first so as I can see how far the glue goes down. Put a little weight on this and let it dry. Right, so that's a little mound. It's nice, isn't it? We'll put a weight on that, put it on a flat surface, a couple of them anyway. I'll let that set, guys, and I'm just going to run off for a cup of tea, and then I'll put the rest of the stringers in, and then I'll see you back when the stringers are done. Thank you for watching. There we are. If you're enjoying the build, give the video a thumbs up at this stage, and it'll spur me on. Hopefully I'll get it all done in a video, but we'll have to see. Cheers, guys. Right, I've stuck on the top stringers, and they've gone on quite nicely, and the block as well is glued up quite nicely. And I just sanded the back flush because that's got to fit probably on there like that. So let's just read the instructions. Okay, I've got to remove the center of this. Let's see how it goes. Just a matter of cutting down through all those tabs. I might saw it, you know, be a lot more controlled. To get all the tabs, I've got to come down at an angle like that. I expect some of the glue is seeped onto the front of it. Let's see if I can't just lift those out. Back half. Don't forget, you can get your kit from Model Shop Leeds. We'll have the full range in stock. There we go. Let's just pop those over there, so I'm not throwing out anything, if you remember. A really nice fit. What I might do is to pop a little bit of white glue on there, and a little bit of CA on the back, which will allow me to crack on and work on it. Right, that will hold it while it dries. Right, I think that'll do for the minute. Now, I'm going to show you something here. I'm just going to take down these formers so they're below the surface. And the reason for doing that is you get a much cleaner line on the tissue, because you wouldn't have seen those formers on the full size. So we just take them down below the surface a little bit in a little scallop, that's the word I'm looking for, like that. If you've got half round file, it's absolutely ideal. And this one's nice because it's a tapered half round file, which means as these get smaller and smaller, I can go more and more to the point. Just work my way around all these guys and I'll be right back. Okay, that's why on this former here where all the little pins broke off, it didn't matter because the string has been held in place by the fore and aft, plus there's nothing to sand away there, so that's good. Okay, so that's those done. Oh, it looks like we're going to make up the top hatch now. Lovely. Now if your magnet polarity was wrong, this won't fit. You'll put it on like that and it'll do that. I need the dash components and I need to laminate them. And they go on here, making sure I've got this the right way up. Should have marked top and bottom on it, shouldn't I? Right, that's the way up it goes. And we're looking at the back one, biggest one, goes in there. This one's quite critical. You want it to be perfect against the back. So what I'm going to do is to actually glue it in position on the aeroplane fuselage, but I'll have to be ultra careful that I don't put too much on because I don't want it going down into the framework. So I'm just going to put a small blob on there, small blob on there, and I'm going to sort of turn it immediately like that. Then I know it fits perfectly. Now I can put a bit more on. Front one goes on there and it wants to be set at 90 degrees because we got the front block to go in there. So I'm just going to open these slots up very slightly. There's a lot of work in the fuselage compared to the flying surfaces. Right, I think we can judge that to 90 degrees or thereabouts. These files have a file on the edge as well, which makes them super useful. Right, little dashboard. Just the idea of a dashboard, isn't it? So what I think I'll do is to put a little bit of CA there and there. Like that. I'll put a little bit on the bottom there. Just a tiny small amount. Right, I just have to empty some of the memory on my camera, so hopefully there's no interruption. I'm going to spray that side. As soon as this has got some burn on it. You spray the side you want it, so that side expands now, so it's starting to curve that way. Same with that piece. Just let that soak for a minute. It's going to curl right over the edge and then it brings it up to the same width as that there. I think the best way to fit this is just going to be some CA on the inside. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put a little bit on the top there to hold it in that position. Just let that soak in a sec. Blob down there, blob in there. Making sure it's pressed all the way around. Actually, that I don't think, maybe it will require a small amount of sanding. Yep, I've got small to play with, so I've just got to sand a very shallow curve into this. Just concentrating in the middle really. So again, I'm going to just put a little bit on this edge, a little bit there. That should be enough. Just to hold it, and a little bit down the inside edge. Okay. Now we can sand all of this to perfection. think we're getting close to removing the sides. It needs sanding and rounding up a little bit more, but that's the basics of it. Very light. We'll be lighter with the side panels out. If you're enjoying the video, guys, give it a thumbs up, and we'll continue very soon with the tail surfaces, I would think. But let me look at the instructions again, and I'll be right back. Cheers. This will save a lot of weight behind the centre of gravity, so just work your way along. You could possibly break them out. Say that because that one's just broken out. I could feel it going under my finger. Fin and rudder. We need to select big pieces of wood that look like the drawing, so be careful because they'll be similar to the tailplane parts and wing parts and the pointy part. That's that one there. I'm taking my time with this build, as you can see, because it's the balsa wood selection is so nice and the laser cutting is so superior that you don't want to rush it. Just to remind you, this kit is available from Model Shop Leeds, as is the whole selection of Tony Ray kits. Don't put pins through the part, you'll only split it, so put the pins either side. I'm going to put one there. In case you're wondering, there's many things you can use for a building board. Personally, I use what we call plasterboard in the UK, wall board. What I think I might do is just assemble this as I go, because it's such an accurate fit. It can't not go together. All you want to do is to make sure the slots for the ribs, we'll call these bits of wood ribs, shall we, are lined up. Make sure everything's flat as you glue it. Not all plastic is impervious to CA, by the way. You might want to just practice on a little piece just to make sure. Now, I'm just going to put a pin, say, there at an angle, just to hold that down. Something else you can do, stay with these little bits that you just took out the fuselage. You can say put a bit like that. That will also hold it down. Another little tip for you: if you start on the longest piece, if you cut it short, then you can always move it down to the next piece down. I'm thinking I might just put a small drop of CA on each end. So keep everything. And if at the end of the day you actually need a bit of wood that's not in the kit, or you've used it up in the wrong place or something, there's plenty of spare wood around the parts that will allow you just to cut a new piece. Right, let's just try this technique. Might need to put a little bit on the other side. I mean, there it is. Seems pretty strong, so that's the rudder. Let's do the same for the tiny little fin. Okay, there's your fin and rudder. They've all got to be sanded and rounded up a little bit, so I'm not worried about doing that now. The little slot down there, by the way, is for your control horn from your servo. So I'm going to do exactly the same with the tailplane, and then we'll come back and take a look at it. Cheers, guys. I'm going to put this safely in my box. So, like I said, I'll have to sand this. If the structure's a little bit delicate, you can always, instead of sanding the structure, you can always do that. So the structure gets sanded, but you're not pressing any weight on it. Now I'm going to pin these down because I want to place this joiner really accurately. So I'll just pop pin in there. Again, not through the structure. Tell you what's a good idea, get a straight edge. And just put it there like that, and that will guarantee that the leading edges are lined up. This little piece here is going to glue in there. Yeah, look at the picture. And I'm hopefully going to glue it a little bit more accurately than what they've done there. This is going to stick up over the tissue quite a bit, make a little wedge. So I'm just going to take off that hard edge from the process of the laser cutter. And just drop it in there. We'll join the elevators rather nicely, and it's all pre-sanded, which is nice. So we'll just take that off. That feels quite solid actually. Interestingly, there's a horn in both sides of the elevators. You're only going to put one horn on because you're only going to have one push rod, so at least you've got a choice there. Next step is number 31, and it is the wings. And I think I'm going to fit ailerons on the wings, but it's going to be interesting. I think this model would probably turn okay with just rudder. So in the test flying, I'll see if I can just turn it with rudder and elevator. If it doesn't, and then I'll be able to say, no, definitely build the ailerons in. But without the ailerons, it's going to save a bit of weight in the two little servos. If it'll turn with just rudder elevator, sorted. But I'm going to build the ailerons in because this is a bit of a test model, isn't it? We all want to know how it goes. Let's have a look at the wings. Cheers, guys.